Today I'm going to teach you how to loom knit Baphomet. He's very cute. He's very worshipable. Let's get into it. Starting with the head, make your slip knot. Take your yarn, lay it across your fingers like this. Hold onto it with your thumb. Wrap it around your two fingers once. Push it through from the back. And then pull tight. Adjust that to the anchor peg. And we're going to do a drawstring cast on. So you go behind the first peg, in front of the second peg, behind the third peg, in front of the fourth peg, in a zigzag pattern like that, all the way around. And when you get back to the first peg, you go behind that first peg again, so there's going to be nothing on that first peg. And then in front of the second peg, there's going to be a loop there already. So you're going to knit that off. Lay it across the third peg because there's nothing there. And then in the fourth peg, there's going to be a loop there, so we knit that off. And you're going to notice that's going to be every other peg that you're knitting off. So you just go all the way around like that. And now that's the cast on done. So for row 1, for peg 1, there's still nothing there. So we're just going to lay it across just for row 1 and then knit off on peg 2. That'll anchor your yarn. So what we're going to do is U-wrap stitches. So you're going to half wrap your peg and knit over. Half wrap the peg just like that and then knit over. And we're going to do that for 22 rows. Okay, once you got your 22 rows done, we're going to do the drawstring cast off. So normally for the drawstring cast off, you wrap your loom once, but we want a nice long tail to be able to sew the head onto the body, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it another half a time. You get a long tail with the 24 peg anyway. So you're going to push your stitches down about halfway, just to get them out of the way, and you're going to half wrap the peg just like you've been doing, knit off, and then pull through. Half wrap the peg, knit off, and pull through all the way around. Alright. Once you've got it free of the loom, you can go ahead and stretch your stitches. So you just take it from both edges and pull, and you go all the way around like that. You can see the difference it makes. Then find your cast on tail, it's going to be the shorter one, and pull that tight. Thread your needle. Make sure that's nice and tight. Stick it through to the other side. And now you're going to find the hole, and where your yarn is coming from, go to the opposite side of that hole and come up where your tail is, and then pull that tight. That'll secure your yarn. And then we want to make a knot, so you're going to go ahead and do that again. leave a loop, go through that loop, and pull tight. Turn that right side out. I want to add some eyes. I'm going to go with 12mm eyes for this one. Looks about right. Okay, now you can put the cast on tail inside, or you can cut it, it's up to you. And we're gonna stuff him. Okay, once you're happy with how much stuffing you've got, pull the cast off tail tight, thread your needle again, and just like before, we're going to go to the opposite side of where the yarn is, just to cover that hole. Make sure it's nice and tight. Leave a loop. Okay, and that's the head done. Now, next we're gonna make his nose. So for the nose, his little snout, you're gonna need a 12 peg loom. Make your slip knot just like before. And we're gonna do the drawstring cast down again. So behind the first peg, in front of the second peg, and so on. And for the snout, it's just going to be 7 rows. So once you got your cast on done, you're just going to U-wrap knit for 7 rows. Once you have your 7 rows done, wrap your loom twice, cut the yarn, and we're going to do the drawstring cast off again. So you half wrap your peg, knit over, and pull through. Now the ears up to this point with the drawstring cast off are going to be the exact same thing. You drawstring cast on, you knit for 7 rows on the 12 peg loom, and then you drawstring cast off. So you're going to make 2 of those. For the snout, you're going to stretch your stitches, pull the cast on tail tight, bring the yarn to the inside, secure it just like we've been doing, Stuff the cast on tail inside. Now put your 2 fingers there and pull the cast off tail. That's as much of an opening as you're going to want. Now we're going to put a little bit of stuffing in here. Not that much. And that's ready to be sewn to the head. So we're going to lay that aside for now. And make the ears. Okay, once you've done the drawstring cast off for the ear, make sure you wrap your loom twice so that you got you a nice long tail. You're going to stretch your stitches again. Secure the cast on tail just like we did with the snout. And then, since this isn't going to be stuffed, we're going to cut this tail as close as possible. And then you just fold this in half at the point where the cast off tail is. And that's your ear ready to be sewn on. Let's put that aside, and we're gonna make a second one. Once you have your ears done, we're gonna work the horns. This is the only complicated part of this pattern, and it's not that bad. So you're gonna get some worsted weight yarn, make your slip knot, attach it to the 12 peg loom, and we're going to do a drawstring cast on just from pegs 5 to 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Peg 5 is your peg 1, so we're going to go behind that peg, and then we're going to go up to peg 8. So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then wrap that and lay it in front of peg 7. Knit off on peg 6, wrap it around peg 5, in front of peg 6, and knit off again. Now, row 1 is you slipping that first peg and knitting the next 3 pegs. And then you're going to increase. So go in front of the next peg, wrap it around, and then come back in front of this peg. This is row 2. You're going to increase again, so wrap it in front of the next peg, and then come back in front of this peg. This is row 3. We're going to knit 5 pegs now. And you're going to keep going like this, knitting all of your pegs, and then increasing 1 at the end of the round until you have all the pegs covered. Once you do the last increase, so you're going to have every peg with a loop on it, and you're going to knit this whole row. And then instead of turning around, we're going to start knitting round. So in order to do that, all you have to do is just go on to the next peg and knit off. And there you've joined it. This is row 10 if you've been counting. So now you're going to be knitting in the round just like before, and the rest of it is just go until row 20. Once you've got all 20 rows done, we're going to do the drawstring cast off just like before. Wrap your loom twice. Cut the yarn. Half wrap your peg, knit over, pull through, just like before. Once it's free of the loom, you're going to stretch your stitches. But now, when you pull the cast on tail, it's only going to do pegs 5 to 8. So we're going to end up with this hole here. So we're going to turn this inside out. And we're going to sew this up. I'm just gonna loosely do these stitches at first. Make sure you're getting through both sides. When you're all the way down at the bottom, you can hold the tip and then pull this to tighten it. Make sure you don't have any really big holes going on. And then you can make a knot. Turn that right side out again. And now you can see how much of a point that has. So we're going to stuff the cast on tail in there. Put a little bit of stuffing in it. Not too much. Put your 2 fingers in there and pull the cast off tail. And now you see that you've got a horn that you can just put a little bend into, like that. Now make a second one. Okay, now we're going to do the body. And the body is exactly like the head. All you have to do is your drawstring cast on. It's 30 rows this time, and then drawstring cast off. No need for a longer tail, you just wrap your loom once like normal. But just remember that it's 30 rows. Once you got all 30 rows done, you're going to do your drawstring cast off. You're going to secure the yarn on the inside just like we've been doing. So the cast on tail is coming out of here. Shove that in there and we're going to stuff them. Once you're happy with how stuffed he is, pull the cast off tail. We're going to make the knot again. for your loop, make sure that you go to the opposite side of where the yarn is. So the yarn is coming out of here, your loop is on this side, so you're going to go up through, and that'll make a knot. If you want it more secure, you can go through the loop twice. Send this through, cut the yarn, and that's the body done. Next is the legs. The legs are back on the 12 peg, and you're going to cast on in your hoof color. In my case, that's going to be this worsted weight yarn. You can still use fluffy yarn if you want. So you're going to do your drawstring cast on, and then you're going to knit, U-wrap knit for 5 rows. Once you have 5 rows knit, you're going to cut the yarn, and then tie on your body color. So you're going to make a slip knot, put it on the next peg, take these 2 tails and tie them together really tight. And then take the slip knot off, pull the knot out, and now you're ready to begin working with your new color. So you're just going to keep going, U-wrap knitting for 10 more rows. Once you've got all 15 rows done, 5 for the hoof color, 10 for the body color, you do your drawstring cast off, so wrap your loom twice. Now you're going to stretch your stitches and pull the cast on tail really tight, and then secure it the way that we've always done. Once you've got your cast on tail secure, stuff that in there, and we're going to add some stuffing. Squish it a little bit, shape it into a leg. Again, put your 2 fingers inside and pull on the cast off tail. And now you make a second one. Next is the arms. So as always, you're going to make your drawstring cast on, but this time it's going to be on an 8 peg loom. I got this one from Walmart. It's from a set where you just add corners and lines. You could also probably use the Flexi Loom. Lots of people have those. And you're just going to knit for 12 rows. Once you're done with your 12 rows, you're going to do your drawstring cast off. So wrap your loom a little more than 2 times, just because the 8 peg is really small. And then you're going to pull the cast on tail and secure it on the inside, just like before. And then you're going to stretch your stitches, just like before. And then we're going to stuff it just a little bit. Okay, and there's your tiny little arm. Now make a second one. Alright, last piece is the wings, and it's just a bunch of knits and a couple of purls. So you're going to count 2, and on the third one put a stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a stitch marker, and then you're going to have 2 more stitches for 17 total. So I'm going to use this worsted weight yarn for the wings. I'm going to do the slip knot, and then we're going to drawstring cast on 17 pegs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Move these down a little bit. Turn your yarn and start knitting off every other peg. Now for row 1, on peg 1, you're just going to wrap it and then knit off on peg 2. That'll secure your yarn. Now, every time you find a stitch marker, that's going to be a purl. So there's only 3 purls on the whole row. So in order to do a purl, you're going to take your working yarn, put it under the existing loop, put your hook down through the top, scoop the working yarn up, make a new loop, take the old loop off, just pop that off, and put this loop that you made onto the peg. Okay? So then you're going to keep knitting, always U-wrap. Okay, we're at another stitch marker, so you're going to put it underneath. Let me see if I can get this better. Put it underneath, scoop it up, take this loop, take the old one off, put the new one on, and tighten it. And then just 2 more stitches. So then you're going to, where we're doing it flat, you're just going to turn back, knit this, knit the next one, purl the next one, and you're just going to continue on like that for 30 rows. Okay, once you got all 30 rows done, we're going to do a drawstring cast off. So wrap the amount of pegs that you have, cut the yarn, and just like before, we're going to knit over and pull through. Once it's free of the loom, you can stretch your stitches. And you'll notice that every time there's a purl row, it'll fold. So that gives us a couple little ridges. So you're going to pull the drawstrings just enough to shape it. Just enough to give it a nice clean edge. And we'll secure those. So just make a knot. And then you can weave in your ends. Just a little bit. Okay, now you're gonna take a piece of yarn long enough that you can sew this down after. And you're gonna wrap it around the middle. And then just adjust this. And tie that down. Now you've got two wings. All that's left is assembly. Alright, let's start with the head. And we're gonna attach the snout, if I can find her. So you're gonna want it right in the middle of the face, so the top of the snout should like line up with the eyes. Once you're done sewing it on, you can take your needle and send it through the project. And then cut the yarn, and that hides the tail. Next we're going to put the ears on. Ears. Here's one. And here's two. Okay, now that the head's done, we can start on the embroidery details on the face. So for that, you're gonna need a piece of yarn. And a lot of patience. So just stick it in through the side. And we're going to start at the point of the star on top. It's already off center. So we're going to try again. Better. And just leave a little bit there so that you can tie it at the end. Now, we're going to measure where we want the next stitch to go. So we're going to come here. Go in. And come out about there. Here. And try to match the other bottom point. And remember, you can adjust these too. So I'm going to go up to the top now and come out here again. And then go in here. And then go in here. We're going to come out in the same spot that we went in. Now let's see if we can adjust this to make it presentable. I think that's okay. Could be a little better, but it's just for me. So then you take these two tails and tie them tight so that they sink into the head a little bit. Cut them off pretty close. And then stick that in there. Next we're gonna do his nose. It's a bit too short, I'm gonna get another piece. Okay, for the nose, you're gonna come out about there. And then go over to this side. Come out in the middle on the bottom. And then scoop that down a little bit. Come back out where you started. Oops. Could be a little longer, but that's okay. I'll take that. Okay, and that is the head complete. Next, we have the body and the limbs. We're gonna actually attach the head to the body first. Just tag that in place and then we can put our pins in. Okay, and you're just catching a stitch or two on the body and a stitch or two on the head. And you're just gonna work like that all the way around. Next we're gonna attach the legs. You're gonna want to pin these in place so that they line up properly. Now he can sit. Now he just needs his arms and then the wings. Okay, so for the wings, we're just going to snip that so that's not in the way. And you have this long tail that we're going to use to sew it on. So we're going to position the wings where we want them. Then stick the needle in just below it and come up a stitch or two, and then put that in the wings, hopefully in the middle. Then down through the wings again. Pick up another couple stitches. Up through the wings. Down through the wings. Pick up another couple stitches. Up through the last little bit of the wings. And tighten that. Now you're going to pick up one more stitch and make your knot. And hide that in the body. Okay, you've got your wings, all your limbs, all your details. There you go. And here he is, in all of his glory. Bow down to Baphomet. If you liked this video, let me know. I can make more. If you found anything confusing, please leave a comment and I will do my best to explain it. And if you're interested in the pattern, you can find it on Etsy for just $5. Thanks for watching.